Well, welcome everyone. We're going to just give it a few minutes while a few are joining. Some of the folks were in the Visit Tucson board meeting that's just ending now. We got a great program arranged for you, great speakers today. Thank you again for joining. During a couple of mechanical things during the webinar section, especially, please mute yourself and turn off your video. That way we'll be able to see the presentation full screen. If you're new to Zoom, there's where you can put on if you want to see everybody or if you just want to see the speaker. So we would just see the speaker, especially when the speaker comes on. So in about 30 seconds, we're going to get started. And please remember to mute yourself as soon as the meeting starts.
She had mentioned they were going to put them on top of those benches, but they're not. So she laminated some markers there that said, don't sit here basically. And then she's going to put them on the floor of the concrete. So perfect. Everything looks good. There's stuff everywhere. Vicky, who is one of the names.
Okay, so I guess we'll go ahead and get started.
Okay, please mute yourself. We're getting the meeting started. And Wendy, take it away.
All right, I'd like to welcome everybody for joining us this morning. Normally by this time of the year, we're already elected our new officers, but that has been postponed. And I want to thank the officers for staying on until March. We will be doing our annual awards in March, I believe March 25th at Hacienda del Sol. It will be an outdoor event. We'll have more information on that after today's program. It's my pleasure to introduce Hillary, who will introduce our guests for today's program on preparing for tours at your attraction. And take it away, Hillary.
Hello, good morning, everyone. So our special guest today is Suzanne Hagberg, and she has been in the tourism industry for some time. For the past 10 plus years, Suzanne has been working with FIT groups and incentive partners from the domestic and international markets. Suzanne is the new owner of Free Spirit Vacations. Free Spirit has been in business for over 25 years, offering group tours, vacation packages, and receptive services in the state of Arizona. Her former position was Vice President of Detours, American West. Suzanne oversaw sales and marketing along with operations in Phoenix, Scottsdale, Arizona, Las Vegas, Nevada. Prior to joining Detours in 2016, Suzanne managed a tour boat company in the Phoenix, Arizona area. Suzanne has extensive volunteer experience, including board positions for HSMAI, MPI, American Cancer Society, United Way, and various community organizations. She was honored to receive the Rising Star, Shining Star, and Committee of the Year awards from HSMAI. Current organizations include SCAL, Las Vegas Territories, Convention Services Association, Las Vegas Hospitality Association, Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, Southern Nevada Hotel Concierge Association, Visit Phoenix, Experience Scottsdale, Visit Tempe, Visit Mesa, Visit Tucson, American Bus Association, and National Concierge Association. So without further ado, I'm going to officially introduce Suzanne. And she's going to tell us, with all her great experience, what we can do.
Okay. Well, Hillary, that was a lot. I shouldn't have sent you all that information.
No, it's good. It's good.
Well, thank you guys for inviting me here. I'm very excited. I'm going to share my screen with you guys so that way we can get started. Okay, can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so I've been with Detours American West for the past 5 years, and it's a great tour company. I'm very much still involved with helping them transition for a new person, but I decided COVID kind of brings out a lot of different thoughts and everything you do. So I decided, I really, I work all these hours. I'm passionate about the industry. And when this opportunity came to me, I decided to go ahead and buy Free Spirit Vacations. Sue Arco is currently the owner, and I take over July 1st. So just to kind of give you an idea. Now, the difference between Detours and Free Spirit, Detours does a lot of set day tours, multi-day tours. We worked with a lot of the international market. We were very involved with Brand USA, who Brand USA is our marketing engine for our whole entire country. And so I was one of their preferred partners with Detours. That's kind of the direction that I would like to also take Free Spirit. Right now, Free Spirit does a lot of tours around festivals and special events and kind of one-off programs. But I want to try to bring in other aspects that I did with Detours, and then also, just working with more, because right now we work with the local market of Phoenix, but I want to kind of expand out from there. So currently, let me get to the next slide. Oh, it's not letting me go. Oh. Okay, there we go. So currently Free Spirit has been in business for 25 years. There's 3 different parts to her company. She is a tour operator, so she creates her own itineraries. And then she also partners with other tour operators. So for instance, there's a lot of, especially during COVID, there's been a lot of companies that are having a hard time, as you guys know. So what we do is we create partnerships with other companies. So we buy into the program so we can fill the buses and have more people show up to your attractions and hotels. So the partnerships are very key right now going on. So we'll work with people from Las Vegas that are tour operators. We work with California tour operators, and then we all buy into a program that we create together. Then the other side of Free Spirit is also the vacation travel agent side. So those are the 3 types of programs we offer. With the tour operator side, Hillary had mentioned that I involved in the FIT business, and that's the independent leisure traveler that comes in, and they may not be a part of a group tour, but they want to do individual type tours, whether it could be a small family or it could be 2 people or couple, however they want to set it up. So there's a lot of different aspects to running a tour operation, but there's just a lot of opportunity for people to always make sure that you work with your tour operators in your area and know that there's many different aspects to it. So some of the questions that Hillary had sent me that I wanted to discuss is basically, what are tour operators, facing? And right now during the pandemic, you are going to see a lot of tour operators probably go out of business. There is the funding has been very limited for bus tour companies. They're trying to take that up on Capitol Hill and try to help everybody. Obviously, Tom, you probably know that very well, and Hillary, you as well. So you're going to see a limited number, or like I said just a little bit ago, I think you're going to also see tour operators working together. So then that way they can create nice programs for everybody's customer. The vaccinations are definitely helping, because we're starting to see the trends of 3rd and 4th quarter bookings. So a lot of people didn't cancel; they really basically rebooked for future dates. People are antsy; they are ready to get out and about and go. And right now it's the dreaming stage. People are taking a look at like what's out there, and they want to get their name on some type of vacation package. One of the biggest issues we're having is a lot of properties, attractions, hotels, everything. They have all they winded up, having to lay off different salespeople. So it's hard to get in touch with who do we speak with, and so make sure everybody in your in your business knows exactly to make sure if a tour operator calls, make sure you get that message to the correct person, because that way we can get our rates and we can get our programs booked. Because right now everybody's planning for 2022. 2021, we're adding programs to, because now that we're starting to see more demand, we started adding programs for the fall. But 2022, we really need to make sure that our attractions and our hotels and everybody just starts making sure that the rates are available for us. So some activities that really help us like create unique itineraries and really stand out from our competition is like, we like to see behind the scenes. Like for instance, the MIM Museum, the Musical Instrument Museum here in Phoenix, they do a whole behind the scenes tour for their museum. And so when they get art pieces that come in, they have a curator that will sit there and take a look at this. Is it damaged? Is it not damaged? But they show our groups exactly what they have to do before they can put that on display in the museum. So it's an education piece. People want, they want to learn. They want to have those unique experiences instead of just walking into a museum and not, anybody can do that. But yet, how do you create unique opportunities for these groups? And that's what will stand out in our tours. Hands-on is obviously very, very big right now. People want cooking classes or photography classes, gardening. I mean, you name it, depending upon your attraction, you can create anything that's hands-on for people to experience, because experiential travel is what people are looking for. So anything like that, any type of VIP experience, that's something that the guests, our groups can get, that maybe, like people just cannot walk up and get it. It has to be pre-done. It's all pre-packaged. So those are the kind of things. And if you guys have any, any questions on that, or want to throw ideas at me, and I can help you, tell you what will work, what won't work. So definitely reach out to me after the presentation, and I can help you, make some planning adjustments for your attraction. So what can you guys do to make your place more attractive to tour operators? Competitive rates, obviously, are necessary, because as tour operators, we sell to travel agents, we sell to activity directors, group leaders. Well, they all like need a percentage, right? So, but yet we need like a percentage to be able to run the tour. So your retail rate really you need to have some type of discounted rate off of that. And I'll go into a little bit more like details with that on what net rates really need to be for tour operators. On the next slide, I'll do that. But just make, like I said before, VIP experiences, meeting the group, it's just a special touch. Our group feels special when somebody comes onto the bus and welcomes them, and just lets them know some of the details of what they're going to experience for that time that they're at that attraction. If there's any, like I have an operator or a shopping mall in California that they meet the group, they offer discounts to on-site restaurants and shops. So if there's anything like that, they just feel special when they get something like a little gift. It could be a tchotchke type of item or something. It just makes our groups feel special. One of the big things is festival dates. I know right now with with COVID and cancellations and postponements and all that, it's hard to get the festival dates, but as soon as you know, get them over, because we can always add programs if we think that there's a draw, and then, offer it to our clientele. So make sure anytime you have festival dates or special events at your facility, definitely reach out to us and let us know those by email. And then that way, maybe we can offer something for that. Some of the other things, here's just another example is, we love to get back to the community that we're going to. So like, in Prescott, we work with the local Rotary Club, so we can donate. They set up chairs for us for the Christmas parade. So we give them money to be able to do that for us. And then it's just a fundraising opportunity. So those are some kind of programs that we like to do. So just think outside the box is what I suggest. Okay, pricing. And if anybody gets confused on this, like I said, email me, we can have a phone call conversation about it. But truly, tour operators really need to have anywhere from 20 to 25% net rate. So if your entry ticket is $20 and you sit there and take a look at, well, I can't really do 15 or $16, discount, because some museums don't allow it, right? They're non-for-profits, and they're not allowed to give that type of rate. Well, what is it that you can give that's like an added value item? And so think about it in terms of, if you can't give that rate, what could you give the operator to make it like a reason why we really want to include this in our itinerary? I know it can be a little bit confusing, but just let me know if you have any questions. Right now with COVID, deposits, if you can be flexible with deposits and cancellation policies. When we put our programs out there, it takes a little bit for us to be able to sell the program. So when you say that we have to do, 60-day cancellation, it's impossible for us to sell it, right? Because the booking window has changed quite a bit. People are waiting to make sure that it gets closer to the date to make sure that they want to go. So the more flexible you are, then it's the easier for us to keep that program on our schedule longer, to be able to get that program to run so we don't have to cancel it. But when you have dates that are way far out there in advance, 60 days, 90 days out there saying you have to have deposits and all these procedures, then it's just very hard for us to be able to sell your attraction or venue. 2022, flexible cancellation is going to be key right now. I always say, if you watch the airlines, when the airlines and the hotels start creating a little bit more cancellation policies, then that maybe you can start doing that. But if you have the ability to be flexible, that your attraction and venue will be, very enticing for operators. Okay, so if the attraction is unable to offer group pricing due to smaller numbers, will this weigh heavily on our choice whether we pick your attraction or venue? Yes, it does. Right now, especially because of all the limitations on how many passengers coaches can have, we have to have smaller numbers. So your groups that you used to sit there and say you have to have a minimum of 15 or 20, you need to shrink them down and be flexible, because otherwise we can't do it. It's just, we're at 25-50% capacity, so our numbers are a lot smaller than those groups of 30 to 50. So just be flexible in your group rates. Because we're trying to run programs, even though it's smaller numbers, we're just trying to get people out and about feeling comfortable again. Because once people are comfortable traveling, then they're going to continue to keep booking, and then that way our numbers will increase. So just once again, flexibility is truly the key to everything right now. And that's kind of what I have right now. I know it's a lot of information. Does anybody have questions that I can help answer? And if you don't want to, get on and ask, definitely feel free to contact me later as well. Oh, and one other thing that I do want to mention is when you do work with a tour operator, we need to know like bus parking, is there any type of clearance issues with the buses of where they're, is there overhangs or anything? And I'm sure Hillary's shaking her head, yes, because this is definitely probably something you're very, very aware of. I had a guide with Detours. He was supposed to pick up in this one area and our office didn't check that but there's a clearance thing, and he just went and it took off the top of our air condition off of our vehicle. So those are the kind of mistakes that cannot happen. So anything you can give an operator that can let us know, be careful, we have low clearance, here's where you need to park, here's where you need to drop your guests off at. Those are just great details to have, so everybody knows exactly what to do when we get to your attraction and venue to give a great customer experience. And
Thank you very much. I'll just jump in. That was wonderful. That was fantastic. And I think it's really key. I just want to point out something that you mentioned, and I've been saying this to Tom for several years now, I think, is the key term is experience. The term tours as we traditionally know them, they tend to have kind of a outdated connotation to a lot of the younger generations. Millennials, tours just sit on a bus and like look at the sights. It has stereotype, I guess you could say. So I think using the word experiences is much better, and that's when we've been putting together packages, for Around Tucson, working with various attractions. That's what we do. Is we still have the wine tour because that's kind of its own little name. But it's the experiences. It's, going and doing these things and, getting these special key components to that experience that you can't get if you were to just go and do it on your own. It's something that a tour operator is going to be able to offer just through, volume discounts and, coordination and all of that people on their own aren't going to be able to do. And so that's, we see a lot of people just kind of trying to do their own thing, but that's, I think, what makes it really special is having those different things and making it an experience. So yes, I entirely agree with that. Thank you very much, because I've been really pushing the experience idea and marketing it as an experience versus just a tour. So thank you. So let's go with questions. Do we have anyone? Mary with Visit Tucson. Good to see you. Saw you just a little while ago.
I know. Good to see everyone. So Suzanne and Hillary, you might be able to help with this too. You mentioned limited bus capacity, and I'm wondering what's happening in Arizona. And then what about if you cross the state line and go into other states? Then what happens?
Hillary, you want to take it?
I will read with this. So we've had, it's interesting because it's a very dynamic situation. There have been some tours. There's a local tour company, I don't know, in Tucson. I don't know if I'm sure people can guess, but I don't know if I'm at liberty to discuss, but they've actually been doing tours and they have people separated out. And it kind of depends. Sometimes we'll have a group of people, and if they're in a larger vehicle, then they might be their own pod. We've had some wedding transportation where we've had people in their own pods. So I think it really is very dynamic according to what the situation is. For overstate, I can't really attest to that as to how many, what limits there would be. That would be something if we did have a trip, say, to New Mexico, then that is something obviously we would investigate and look into. But in general, I think a lot of what it is if you have different people, you want to be separating them out. You want to increase airflow. So opening windows, keeping vehicles so the air is not uncirculating, but you actually have the fresh air coming in from outside. There are a lot of things that, we're doing, masking in the vehicles. Very typical. We've all heard all the typical protocols for COVID-19. beforehand. So Suzanne can probably answer more to what they're specifically doing. But in general, we see if you have pods of people, so she might have, a huge, extended family group say, hey, we want to book something with you. We don't need to worry about, distancing ourselves because we all live here. We're in our own pod. So I think if there are a lot of dynamics and factors involved in that. Suzanne?
Yeah, definitely. So like Nevada, they are only allowing 25% occupancy in their vehicles. So so you have a 50 passenger coach and and that's hard on tour operators. Right now we are running tours. So we have a tour in California. There's so many regulations that go on with we space everybody out, just like Hillary said. So if it's a husband and wife, they can sit together. If not, then everybody has to do every other seat, window seats. We try, or window or aisle, depending, where they're wanting to sit, but we try to, kind of move them around throughout the coach. But right now we have a full motor coach for 50 people and we only have 15 people in it to make sure that we can do the social distancing and be and be part of the solution. Like, people want to travel. These people really wanted to go to California. We don't want to be a part of the problem. So, it brings down your profit margin, but it also, just like I said before, it's really about getting people comfortable again. And then the more people that see that other people are comfortable, the more that we can get travel back going again. So every state, like Hillary said, has regulations. We are running tours. I know other people are running tours. I know with Detours, we were running private tours. Jeff Slade is the owner. He's still running private tours. He hasn't opened it up to public quite yet. And it's just because I think operators are really wanting to be part of the solution. And that's what our focus is.
And it looks like we have a question from Laura Cordelieu, and it says, do you know how many tour operators are running tour packages right now from Phoenix to Southern Arizona?
Well, that's one of the things that we are working on right now. And Jaleesa's working on Jalisa and Mary are working on a couple of things for us. We've got inquiries all the time. So, I think that with our planning, we're trying to just start planning for after April. March, it's just too close. So, but anything in the fall time that you have anything special, definitely let us know, because we want to get it onto our program. And then obviously 2022. Detours runs down to Southern Arizona. The Free Spirit and Detours are kind of the only ones that I know from the Phoenix market. I'm not sure. I think Across Arizona only goes to northern Arizona. I know Jimmy Vaughn from Southwest Tours is another one. He does Tombstone area and Tucson. So I would reach out to Southwest Tours. If I were you guys, I would reach out to Jeff at Detours, and I'll also explain to him what I have done today, so that way he knows if anybody, that there's opportunity with attractions and venues that really want to, start working back with the group market. And then and then Free Spirit, those are the only three that I'm aware of from the Phoenix market.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Oh, yes, April.
So what's the best way to, we all have our own contacts of tour groups that have come to our location and that kind of thing. And of course, they all had that information, but as you said, things have changed a lot. So what's the best way to market now to tour operators? Is just sending an email with new rates and new offerings and that kind of thing? And then to piggyback on that, how do we find out who's actually operating? Is it just a search on the internet? I know you can belong to the National Tour Association, American Bus Association, but those are really expensive and some of us can't afford that. So is it really just a Google search? And then once you find those folks, is the email the right way to go, mailing? What would you suggest?
Well, what I would do is I would take a look at your top. I would have my list, right? I would say, here's all my top operators that have brought groups to me. And I would check their website first to make sure that you know what they're doing, because then you can sit there and say, okay, maybe they're only, running certain things or certain small groups. And then contact them again, say, I just wanted to let you know, here's our COVID procedures. I think it's really important for operators to know exactly what are you doing to keep their customers safe. So make sure that you send that to them. And then it also gives them another top of mind if they want to, I would invite them like, can we do a Zoom call or a conference call? I just want to talk to you about the new things that we're offering, new experiences that we're offering. So that way they know what's different about you right now. And then, like I said, I would, maybe reach out by email and see if you can get a one-on-one conversation with them. Right now, people have time. People have time to talk. And so, so take advantage of it. And some people won't. Some people, you're gonna, and in anything in this world, some people are gonna be really positive and excited to talk to you. Some people are gonna be just, they don't want to because they can't get beyond their business is, they're just too into their head. But maybe, even if you get one or two of those operators that are just so positive and looking forward to, the future of travel, it's worth it. It's worth reaching out.
And if I might just jump in, I would say it's really important to not just sell your product, but to do your homework on the tour operator. They're probably understaffed. They're probably more concerned right now about cancellations than rebookings. They love the rebookings, but from an operations standpoint, so tell them how your attraction fits in their itinerary. Make it easy for them. And if they're not coming to Tucson, then reach out to Jaleesa or myself, and let's, that's a bigger conversation then. To convince someone to stop at the Presidio Museum, if they're already coming to Tucson, is easier than to get them to Tucson the first time. So make sure you understand what they're offering.
Great point.
I have a question for Suzanne. So I don't know if you had a chance to look at our website or some of the things that we're doing, but years ago when we started the organization, folks wanted us to take a look at the attractions and put them into planning categories. For instance, we have certainly heritage is one of our important categories. What's your thoughts on the attractions that belong in a certain category to actually partner together and package experiences and then contact the tour operators and promote the thought of creating not only just a one-up kind of tour, but a multiple attraction tour around a particular category?
No, I think that's really great because partnerships, like I said earlier, tour operators are partnering, right? So anytime attractions can partner together, it will give us different ideas to do. Maybe we didn't think about, Titan Missile Museum and something else. Anything that can spark like creative itineraries, work. And so I think it's really great for everyone to, start taking a look and working together and, and proposing those itineraries. And I'm sure, Mary, you probably can definitely attest to that. Because it helps Tucson be able to sell the destination when there's an appeal. And so when people are working together, it creates those itineraries that just make it even better, to all visitors coming in to Arizona.
Great. Any other questions? I think that was a great amount of information, and that'll help all of us kind of start thinking and planning. And it's great. We've actually worked with some of the our company, I'm with Diamond Transportation, to put together, small tours and packages. And it's just been hard for us to do it sometimes because we're just the transportation company. So the marketing. So that's why we need people like you, because you're doing all the marketing and you have all the established clients and things. So that's great. So lots of amazing information. Anyone have any other questions at all? No, well, thank you. And, if you want to stay on for the rest of the meeting, please feel free. Hopefully we'll get to meet in person, all of us at some point.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Suzanne. Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Suzanne. Okay, Hillary, so I guess I'm up next, and thank you. We have two additional speakers today that are working on tours and many other opportunities that we wanted to share with you today. Many years ago, Visit Tucson embarked on helping to train tour operators about what there is in the destination. And we're so fortunate to have Meredith on the call today because I think, was it a couple of years ago, Meredith, that the CTA program was reactivated?
It was actually August of 2019.
2019. Okay, so I asked Meredith to join us, who came on board with Visit Tucson to help reactivate the Certified Tourism Ambassador Program. Many of us are certified tourism ambassador programs. I've taken program, I think now twice or maybe 3 times. We've had to renew it. After every year you have to renew it, but it's important that we share what we are offering here in our destination. So Meredith has agreed to spend a few moments and let us know how she is helping promote us. Meredith.
Thank you for that, Tom. Good morning, everybody. It's good to see you. Hopefully we'll all be seeing each other in person very soon. As Tom mentioned, my name is Meredith Lipscomb, and I'm the partner and CTA manager for Visit Tucson. And I didn't really have a slide presentation this morning, but I just have one slide that I can put up for you. So if I'm allowed to, Tom.
Yes, you are. It's coming up. There you go.
All right. So that should be, hopefully everybody can see that. Does everybody see it?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Yeah, so Certified Tourism Ambassadors, or CTAs. This is a course that Visit Tucson brought back. As Tom mentioned, this was actually something that Visit Tucson was an early adopter of this program. When it first came out, then we lost the program for a little while due to some funding issues. There was a great outcry to bring it back. And so happily, we were able to do that. So if you are not familiar with the program and what it is and how it works, a little bit about the tourism ambassadors. Essentially, it is an overarching program that has been created to help us create a positive visitor experience for every visitor that comes to our area and to increase our customer satisfaction. Along those lines, I would say, especially now post-COVID, we recognize now more than ever, we need an engaged, informed, and experienced group of ambassadors to represent Tucson and Southern Arizona. We are going to be looking to our CTAs to be leaders who are going to be looked to in this post-COVID world. As we're all, starting to reopen, contemplating the reopening of tourism and hospitality businesses, everybody's in a different place. We're all going to be working to rebuild our vital tourism and hospitality industry. We know that customer service skills, positivity, and knowledge of our area are going to be in very high demand. And that's really what this program is aimed at delivering. So when we talk about the Visit Tucson CTA course as it exists right now, we're actually talking about a virtual course, an online course. We obviously prefer to do it in person in much larger groups because we have a lot of fun. But at this point, we've actually transitioned to a completely virtual version, and we offer that monthly. And it is a pared down virtual version of the international certification. So one thing that's great about this course is that it is an actual certification. So you can add letters to your name, to your email signature, to your business card. And it's something that is attached to you, the individual. So if you change jobs or even change areas, the CTA designation goes with you. And the CTA program actually exists in many, many spots all over the United States and even internationally in places like Bermuda and Canada. So it's definitely coming on. And I would also just mention that during this lull in travel, we kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. Suzanne mentioned how people have time at this point. So if you're looking for something to do with your time and sort of increase your marketability when things do come back, this is the perfect way to spend a morning. And so we really just encourage all members of the tourism and hospitality industry to take an opportunity now, you know, or whenever they have the opportunity to become a part of this larger community, this CTA network. And again, it's really a focus on helping us recover economically from the effects of the pandemic as quickly as possible by just providing the absolute best visitor experience that we can in this area. So who should be a CTA? Really, you know, any staff that are customer facing, not just traditional tourism and hospitality, you know, venues that you would think of. You know, any restaurant employee, any shop owner, any experience purveyor. If you are dealing with the public, you are perfect for the CTA program. And one other thing I wanted to mention, especially to this group too, if you have always wanted to become a CTA, but you don't necessarily live right here in Tucson, maybe you live, you know, down in Bisbee or Tombstone or somewhere further afield, now is the perfect time to become certified because you can do it from the comfort of your own home or your own office and never have to make the drive. So there's a plus right there. The class itself, just a brief description, it's about a 3-hour course in the morning. It is not 3 hours of a Zoom call, I promise. There's a lot of interaction. And we try to make it fun. We also provide lots of breaks. So you are not stuck in Zoom hell, I promise you. And once you are a certified CTA, you then become a part of our CTA network. And you know, you'll be even that much more connected to our tourism and hospitality community. We really encourage everyone, if you have not become a CTA yet, if your staff has not become CTAs, now is the time. It's a $45 class fee, which is, we hope, very affordable for everyone. And again, class is happening every month. I'm going to take the link to our webpage with all of the class information, all of our class policies, and it's also got dates for upcoming classes as well as a link for registration. I'll put that in the chat. And basically, I think that's about all I have to say. If anybody has any questions, obviously, now's the time. Yes, Tom.
Well, I wanted to share to April's point, and Tim, you jump in here too if you can. Once you become a CTA, you become part of a global network. In particular, let's take it to the region. When I went to I think it was either the second or the third class of the reintroduction of the CTA program, and there were folks in there that I had been wanting to reach out to. For instance, the 4th Avenue Merchant Group, Fred Ronstadt was there, and I've been trying to get hold of Fred for several months, and he was busy. So I think I captured him right outside the bathroom. And had a little hallway chat about some of the thoughts I had working with the Merchant Association. So Meredith, you indicated that you're part of a network. You get a chance to meet these people, at least now virtually. You're part of the same group. So obviously you have some common interests, and it's just and you do have tour operators on there. I don't know, Meredith, maybe this is more the direct question, is that over the years, when we've done our showcase in the fall, we've always had a really good turnout of folks from Phoenix. Because, and I remember asking the Phoenix concierge group, you know, after I thanked them for spending a day with us in Tucson, And they came out and said, our owners require us to know about day trip opportunities. Are you seeing anybody from the region and or especially the Phoenix area that is a CTA or signing up for the CTA program? And so I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, so I have had relatively recently, actually, a couple of people that have reached out to me. They haven't actually come through the course yet, but reached out for information, and I've got one signed up for a future class. So yes, I think that there are some people, and you know, this is not something, this course has not been adopted for the Phoenix area. This is something that's unique to Tucson and Southern Arizona. So absolutely, I definitely think that there's more interest, and it's really just also I think about word of mouth. You know, when people hear about it, they think, oh my gosh, I want to do that. It's again, it's just a great way to connect, learn more about the area, and get involved to a deeper level. So
yeah, I think the more we can reach out to Phoenix and help those Phoenix concierges when they get back to work, know more about Southern Arizona, that will help them do their job in a much better way. And what better way than to create some day trips here down in Tucson.
absolutely. So does anybody else have any questions? If not, I think that I am going to be handing it off here to Mary Rittman.
Thanks, Meredith. I really want to recognize Meredith's work with the CTA program. She is an excellent presenter. I've taken the class online because I was one of those people that was very, very busy until I was stuck at, you know, forced to be home again. And it was engaging. I was really impressed. And we all sit on Zoom these days, and some are better than others, and hers was great. So if you have the time and haven't participated, this would be a good opportunity. There's nothing worse than, it's probably, you've either heard about it or it's happened to you. You know, you get in a taxi, you're going from the airport to your hotel, and you start talking to the driver, and the driver, you're like, hey, what should we do while we're here? Oh, there's nothing to do here. And that's what we're trying to avoid, is making sure those frontline people, be it the front desk at the hotel or the taxi driver who doesn't really necessarily believe he might even work in tourism, make sure that they're aware of what's to do so that the visitor experience is improved. So I'll just give you a little bit. I'm the Vice President of Communications and Tourism at Visit Tucson. Jaleesa wishes she could be here. However, she is giving a presentation, a destination presentation to Belgian tour operators and travel agents this morning. So I said I would gladly represent her at this meeting. How is everybody doing? It's been a tough year, hasn't it? I'm looking at Stan. We haven't actually met yet in person, so this is as good as it's getting. You know, we were supposed to be at the rodeo parade in just a couple of weeks, and events have been canceled, and business is down, and it's been a tough year. I didn't think we'd be here this long, working from home, and some of us, you know, dealing with restrictions and all of that. We have been following traveler sentiment very, very closely. There's two organizations, Destinations Analysts and Longwood, who are doing weekly surveys of their panels of American travelers. And we're finally starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel. It is still dim, and I'm not sure how long it's going to take us to get there, but it's a light. And it's really the change, the biggest change we're seeing is with the vaccine coming out. But interestingly, there's been a lot of pent-up demand for travel, as you've heard, and some people have been traveling. They haven't stopped. But now that the vaccine is on the horizon and people are either getting it or have an appointment to get it or think they're going to be getting it, they're going to wait. Now they just want to wait to travel until they're vaccinated because they're feeling more safe. So we're watching very, very closely the vaccine rollout, because it will be the travel and tourism rollout as well. I spent some time this week. There was some changes with the Canada travel restrictions this week, and I wanted to understand them better. I knew that they had canceled cruising for all of this year, which really impacts Alaska, because most of those cruise ships stop in Canada. And then I heard that they had stopped travel from the Caribbean and Mexico. And so I did some digging. Internationally, the restrictions are much tougher than domestically. The borders, the land borders for Mexico and Canada have been closed. However, you can still fly here. And that's what people have been doing. But now Canada is really making that a very onerous process as well, where upon return, they're giving people until February 14th to get home. And on February 15th, you will have to quarantine. And it's not simply go home and quarantine. It is, you will stay at this hotel under our purview and pay for it yourself. The UK is implementing this later on next week, I believe, as well. And their program will cost £1,750. So travel's going to come back. It's going to come back first regionally, then domestically, and international is going to take a while. But we're following the sentiment closely, and we are optimistic. I was pleased to hear Suzanne say they're seeing bookings for third and fourth quarter, because we're holding on to those meetings for third and fourth quarter as well. So we're optimistic. Like everyone, Visit Tucson has had some budget issues. We are funded primarily through tax revenue from the city, the county, and Oro Valley. And as with the city, we are actually funded a year in arrears. So this year is funded on last year's. Last year was pretty good for 2/3 of the year almost. The county is funded in real time, and Oro Valley pays a flat fee. So as visitation is down, tax revenue is down, our budget is down. And it's taken a pretty big hit. I think most of you know we've had layoffs, we've had staff reductions. We're all going through this. It's no different than what you're probably experiencing at your business, but it means we've had to be more careful about what we're doing. We really want to save our marketing dollars for when we know people can travel again. So the idea was we would tighten up our marketing, our programs this year, so that next year when people are out again, we're out there, we're on the road, we're talking to them, we're attending trade shows, we're doing sales missions. Not that we would stop that entirely this year, but just be selective. We have been selective, and in some cases, we haven't even needed to, because some shows have been canceled. We're not hosting a lot of people on fam trips. We've hosted a few on press trips and fam trips. Trade shows, which we thought in June when we were working on the budget would happen, have been canceled or postponed. Maybe they went virtual. And if they go virtual, usually the registration costs are lower and we have no travel expenses then. The experience is a little different. I would say a little substandard. It's not quite the same trying to develop a relationship over Zoom as it is in person. But the budget is going to be okay. And I want to tell you specifically what Jaleesa's been working on in tourism, because that's kind of the topic of this morning. She has attended several virtual trade shows and one in-person show. So started with Go West, a show that is targeting receptive operators. So these are companies that are based in the US, but primarily deal with international tour operators by aggregating product. It was supposed to happen in March, and I believe it was going to be in Portland, and it got postponed to August and went virtual. So she participated in that show. She went to Florida in October. Interestingly, October and November were a little bit better. We hosted a couple of people here on site inspections, fam trips, press trips, etc. She attended a Connect Travel show and met with a few more of the East Coast. We've really been focused with the border shut down and domestic market really being our most important market. Anyhow, that's what we've been focused on this year. NTA, the National Tour Association, had their annual convention in November. Jaleesa participated virtually in that as well. We were scheduled to do the American Bus Association's convention. Now that usually takes place in January. It was going to be in Baltimore. They pushed it to June, and in hopes that by June things would have improved. Just yesterday they announced that trade show is going virtual. IPW, which is an international trade show that we attend every year and have taken partners to, that was canceled in June, moved to this June. Now it's pushed till September. So we are optimistic not only for people to start traveling in the fall, but for us to start traveling in the fall. In the meantime, we are very much taking advantage of this downtime that Suzanne mentioned, and every opportunity we can get to do a destination presentation, we are doing. A lot of this is happening internationally. They have very strong programs of support for employees who have been laid off, who are getting most of their pay. And so they want to stay engaged, and they're doing training programs. We launched a training program before COVID, working with a large German tour operator we participate with other Arizona destinations as well, because most international visitors visit more than one spot. So we did a training program with FTI. We thought about 500 people would be certified through the program. It was double that. And that's maybe, I don't want to say there's an upside to COVID, but people have had the opportunity, they're brushing up on their knowledge. They want to learn as much as they can so they can hit the ground running when this opens back up. So those are some of the things we're participating in. We're just starting to look at our budget as fiscal year July 1 to June 30th. So we're just starting to look at our programming for next year. It's still a little bit difficult because we don't quite know. It's not business as usual yet. So flexibility is key. Can I answer any questions? April.
We're seeing a little bit of an increase at the Presidio Museum in visitation and attendance at events and that kind of thing. I was just wondering if other people are seeing the same thing. Apparently not.
Our occupancy at hotels in Tucson has stayed fairly consistent throughout this. It's growing a little bit, the same with airport traffic. You know, it took a massive dive during the lockdown. And then summer, because that was kind of geared towards regional travel anyhow, it came back up. There have been a few meetings that have taken place, but it's sort of consistently holding as our weather gets better. And now we're seeing a decrease, you know, as soon as the numbers go down, and not just in the place you're visiting, but in the place you live, you are far more comfortable traveling. And so we anticipate to see a little bit of increase in traffic in the upcoming months if the numbers stay down.
Well, thank you, Mary, for joining us, and we wish Jaleesa well, and especially her going and traveling to Florida. And any
COVID test when you come home, COVID test before you go. I've had many myself, so it's a new world.
At any other time, we would all have jumped to that opportunity, but you're absolutely right. There's lots of testing going on, and we had the opportunity to be part of a Roger Dow U.S. Travel Association meeting not too long ago, and we asked him about his feelings regarding showing a vaccine card or some kind of card before you get onto an airplane. And this seems to be heating up this discussion. And clearly, I have to share with you, Roger Dow, as well as the, I think it was the Travel Agent Association was on the call as well, that they are not proponents of having proof of vaccine or proof of a test before you get on a domestic air flight. Has there been any from the destination group? What's their opinion on that? Are you aware of any?
Well, the industry is pretty much opposed to those sort of regulations, not because they're opposed to, you know, they're not trying to say travel is unsafe, right? But how do you enact it? How are you going to do this? How are you going to, when you are a country, it's a little bit easier. I know Alaska and Hawaii have much more strict restrictions, but it's very hard to get there. You pretty much have to fly. So it's easier to enact those sorts of regulations. Domestically, I'd be very surprised if it would happen, and every industry group is opposed to it. Internationally, there's talk of a vaccine passport that will help ease your travel across international borders if you've been vaccinated versus having to multiple COVID tests and quarantines. So I think that will come into play, but I'm not sure when or how. I know that with the Mexico, US and US Canada borders, they've been trying to keep regulations somewhat similar so that the travel across North America, people understand it. At this point, I know Felipe is pushing the government organizations he works with to say, okay, we know that it's going to be a while before borders open, but what's the plan? Let's figure out the plan now. So when the time is right, we're ready to implement it. So, maybe the plan is first, it's different for people who've had the vaccine versus people who haven't, or how will that look? It's going to take a little more time though.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to thank Mary and Meredith. She had to just hop off for being part of our program, and Suzanne. Some of you may wonder, why are we talking about this now, especially as we hear from all the speakers that we're not quite there yet? Well, I think Suzanne said it. They are planning for the fall and planning for later on in 2022. And these things take a little bit of time to plan. It gives us an opportunity when our attendances are low or some of our attractions are closed, the opportunity to really reach out to these tour operators and see exactly what are the kinds of things that they're looking for, and help them as they prepare for their marketing cycle. I know last year when we first heard about this, we all thought it was going to be over soon. And we were saying, okay, things are going to open up in the summer. Well, things are going to open up in October. We kept being pushed back and back, but we didn't have, the difference is we didn't have a vaccine. And so I have to commend the Pima County and the University of Arizona, and the state for that matter, of partnering. I may have read that yesterday or the day before, about opening really more vaccine sites. And in particular, I think they're going to go to 65 and over next week. And then of course from there, it'll just continue to go down as far as age. So things are happening, things are getting better prepared to get the vaccine. And at this point, before we turn it over to Wendy, are there any other questions you'd like to ask before we kind of go into our announcement and wrap mode? Okay. Wendy, I'm going to turn it back over to you. And
Okay. I'd very much like to thank Suzanne, Meredith, and Mary for joining us today. It was a lot of wonderful information that we can all take home and start getting our tours prepared. Just want to remind everybody that our next meeting will be March 25th at Hacienda del Sol. It is our annual meeting. It will be an outdoor setting in the courtyard. They've got it all arranged for us, and we really hope you will join us. Contact Tom if you need further information on the wheres, whens, and directions. And as always, was in the newsletter. If you didn't read your newsletter or didn't have a chance to open the email, we are looking for volunteers to serve on the board. So if anybody's interested in serving on the board, also please contact Tom. And I think that about wraps it up for me, Tom.
Right. Just if I could just share very quickly regarding the March 25th. Normally our annual meetings are in January, where we honor several folks for working diligently in promoting the attractions. And clearly we weren't ready to have a meeting last month. We have been working with Hacienda del Sol on trying to understand their COVID-19 protocol. And it just so happens that they have been operating under Pima County state guidelines for probably close to 6 months now. doing banquets in particular outside, and the weather has just obviously been beautiful. Basically 4 or 5 to a table, very, very distanced, really no happy hour or mixer or any of those kinds of things going on. So when we took a look at this, and after we met with Hacienda del Sol and saw what they have been doing over the last 6 months, that's when we, the board decided that barring any additional surges, that it's important for us to try to get together, even if it is socially distanced. And so we will be receiving more information about how Hacienda del Sol has been working with the county and the state in providing safe opportunities to hold in-person meetings. And we don't take this lightly, but we did do quite a bit of extensive research on what facility that we would want to go to. And besides, you know, do they have great food and is it a great destination opportunity, but in particular the COVID-19 protocol that they have adopted. So just wanted to share that with you. There has been some discussions, are some of the parts being broadcast or be available virtually. And I belong to an organization called Rotary of Tucson, and they have been one of those organizations that have been meeting regularly, limited to about 50, 55 people. And they broadcast all of their meetings virtually on Facebook Live and then on YouTube. So we are taking a look at how they are streaming their meeting, and we'll be probably offering that as well. So back to you, Wendy.
Okay, great. Well, again, thank you all for coming. I appreciate the time and energies you put into joining us for these meetings. I know it's not always convenient, but I think it's important to stay connected with each other. So enjoy a little bit of found time and enjoy the rest of your day. And again, thank you for coming. Be safe.
Wendy, I have a quick
Yes.
announcement if possible.
I'm sorry?
Listen, I have a quick announcement if possible.
Of course.
And it's,
Of course.
okay, and it's on the positive side, and I think we need to kind of have a little bit of positivity amongst all of this stuff. We're really moving forward with the Rodeo Parade Museum on having an event on or a program on February 27th, where we're featuring Buffalo soldiers coming in and actually setting up some displays. And also we'll have some live entertainment from 11 to 1. So yeah, so the museum will be open between 9:30 and 3:30, and that's on the 27th, Saturday. It's normally it would be the last Saturday of rodeo, but since we don't have one, we're trying to do something that still ties into the rodeo time of year. And so we're trying to do that with the museum. Also, we're really optimistic, and hopefully not too overall optimistic, but it looks like we're going to have a March 20th reverse parade. That's coming together. We'll have meetings with the city next week where they actually come onto the grounds and walk through our whole plan. So there's different representatives from the city of Tucson that's gonna go through that with the parade committee. But we're pushing forward so that it's not officially announced yet because we still need the approval, but then we're gonna go ahead and release the press releases on both of these events that are coming up. And so I just wanted to throw that out there. I know I've been trying to, I met with Amy over at the Presidio. We're trying to do some things back and forth. We're going to try to send a couple of people from the rodeo and the parade committee over to the Presidio. They have an event on the 27th also of February, and they're going to send some things from the Presidio over to us. So we're already trying to reciprocate what we talked about earlier in this meeting. So anyways, that's all I have to say right now. We're trying to be optimistic here.
Dan, what's a reverse parade?
A reverse parade is where you drive through. Think of Winter Haven, maybe. Nobody gets out of their car. That's why we think it's going to fly. And actually, the feeling tone coming from the people in the city that a couple of our members with operations and grounds are working with, it sounds like they want to put it through. sounds like the city's is pushing for it. So basically, you'll enter in behind the rodeo grounds on 3rd Avenue, and then you'll go through a serpentine route through what's normally the parking lot of the rodeo grounds. But we'll have displays of in groupings, such as like the Surreys that were used in the movie Oklahoma will be grouped together. Interesting items like the dump truck, that we have a belly dump wagon that was used as a garbage truck in Tucson back in the day. We've got the hearse, children's hearse, which is unique. We've got a few other things, a jail mobile. Another one is a chuck wagon display. We're gonna have some live music. Looks like we've pretty much got mariachis from Pueblo High School and folklorico dancers coming in. Probably Gertie and the T.O. boys performing also. So as you're driving through, you get to see several things, and some of the wagons that don't normally roll in the parade because A, they're too fragile, or there's only room for one person to ride in that, such as like the buckboard that John Wayne used in several movies, and also the high chaparral used. So that's what we're trying to showcase, those wagons that normally are not out there, but make it exciting. We're partnering with a nonprofit. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to announce it because I think they still haven't anchored that down yet, but we'd like to give back to the community in some way, either financially or through some sort of stuff to shoot, like a bucking shoot. The rodeo committee is working with us with that. So yeah, and then there's going to be goodie bags or swag bags that are given out to, I don't know if it's the first 300 or 500 cars that come through that have little goodies in it. So we're trying to give back to the community, and and it's a free event that people can just drive through. So like I says, we don't want to put the press release out until we actually have the whole okay from the city on that. So that's basically what it is, April. Good question.
That is good news.
And Wendy, I have one other thing to add.
Yes, Sir Tim.
If I can jump in. First of all, April, I haven't seen you in 20 years. It's good to see you. Glad you're doing well. I'm also on the board of the Desert Thunder Squadron. We were coached by Davis Monthan. They're having a problem of spousal suicide, things like that on Davis Monthan, and they reached out to us for my other nonprofit and asked us to raise some money and put together a program to get people off base, because with all the deployments that are going on right now. And so Tom and I and the board decided that every passport that we sell, we're going to donate a passport to Davis Monthan for them to give to a spouse of a deployed soldier, an airman. And so anyways, we're gonna be meeting today. We've got a Zoom meeting with the base commander, and a gentleman named Vincent Howard, 30-year veteran of being a first sergeant, and now retired master sergeant, and one of the most energetic guys on the planet. And so we're going to be kicking off a public relations campaign in the next 2 weeks, and promoting the passport. And every passport that's sold, whether it's paper or digital, we donate a digital passport to the base to help support this program. So just want to let everyone know about that.
Thank you, John.
I have one more announcement as well before we go. We're going to begin opening on Wednesdays. Right now we're open Thursday through Sunday. We're going to begin opening on Wednesdays next week as well. So,
Oh, cool.
Yay.
Hey, great, fantastic.
So,
Oh, we got all kinds of good news going on.
absolutely.
Okay, so if there's no further announcements, thanks again, everyone. It was good to at least hear your voices. Some folks didn't turn their cameras on. I get it. Tom worries when I don't turn my camera on. He thinks I'm still in my PJs.
Would have never known that, Wendy.
And
But
thank
I
you.
hope everyone has a wonderful day, and we look forward to seeing you in March.
Bye now.
Bye.